Week 3 welcomes a few more roster shakeups. We'll see how they affect the standings, starting with our first match of the day. Perhaps with the help of Lustboy, Mithy, and the rest of TSM can keep up with Jensen and Smoothie as they come back to the Cloud9 starting lineup. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NA LCS Countdown, where for 30 minutes we literally show you what it's like on the Rift and clue you into player rituals until the timer reaches 0 and we jump into Champion Select. We've also added Azael to the roster here for the first half of the countdown. How you doing today, man?
Doing well. I'm excited to be here.
I'm glad to have one expert on the desk as of now, but what?
I haven't had my coffee. You add Isaac to the desk. Don't prod me.
It's a tough morning for Mike.
Don't get me started.
All right, let's dive into it and taking a look at our schedule presented by Jersey Mike Subs. We kick off the day with a refreshed Cloud9 roster challenging TSM, followed by a battle for first place between the reigning champions Team Liquid and Echo Fox, with 100 Thieves versus Clutch Gaming and 2 more matches before we wrap up the day. Make sure to tune in to Riot Games 2 tomorrow, where Azael will be in the NA LCS Lounge with Stixay and Biofrost to bring you Echo Fox versus Cloud9 in Game 4. If the craving hits during today's show, visit a Jersey Mike's near you or order online at jerseymikes.com. Be sure to check in later in the split when ordering a sub above could earn you a VIP trip to the Summer Finals alongside some in-game rewards. So again, those coming to you shortly. Coming into Week 3, though, certain teams didn't perform to expectations and have brought in substitutions for today's games. Those are the big-ticket items.
Yeah, we only saw like 9 roster changes in the offseason, and we've seen 5 between Week 2 and 3, and I think a lot of these are actually themed. Jensen is subbing in the bot lane, and Gate, traditionally a support player, is actually subbing in the jungle position. So I feel like for a lot of these substitutions, it's kind of themed around playing non-standard or the new meta that some people are playing with funnel strategies or with mages bot lane.
And unfortunately for Quan, even though he won the battle versus Big, is going to end up getting swapped out for JJ.
Went out in a blaze of glory.
Yeah, exactly. Go on top. Go out on top.
I mean, but to some degree then, Azael, this feels like a telegraphed move when it comes to substitutions and what strategies these teams will employ on the day.
I definitely think it does somewhat. I mean, but these guys can still play marksman. You're thinking about Golden Glue and Jensen. You could still play a Lucian mid or something like that if you want. And I do think it makes a lot of sense. Instead of having Sneaky and Keith learning Yasuo and Aurelia and Swain, you already have guys who are experts at those champions. We've seen Fnatic have a ton of success with this, putting Whippo in for Reckless in the bottom lane. And I think it's a very effective strategy. And even if you know it's coming, Fnatic has done it every week.
Well, leading into Game 1, Avali spoke with Cloud9 coach Reapert about why he brought out this specific roster against TSM.
Thanks, guys. There were so many things that I wanted to ask Coach Reapert, but the biggest thing on my mind was Jensen and Smoothie coming back to play today. He said that these roster moves were mainly meta-focused and that he's excited to have 2 mages back on the team with Jensen and Golden Glue. He's also super excited to have Smoothie back since Cloud9 was having a little bit of difficulty with decision-making in the mid to late game, and he knows that Smoothie's going to bring some of that shot calling back in. He says that their main focus is they want to be able to confuse their opponents and try to improve some of the strengths that they already have. He's excited to take on TSM today and says that Lustboy, he's got some lessons to teach you. Back to you guys.
I mean, if confusion is the goal, I'm sure swapping in again.
Plenty of C9 fans are confused.
plenty of confusion surrounding that. I do know as well, on the topic of Sneaky, Reaper did comment that Sneaky, both the effort has been showing and the degree of play that they would expect is showing up in scrims, and to expect to see him shortly.
Yeah, and what we're seeing today, obviously, is either Jensen or Golden Glue bot, and the other one mid for a mage lineup, much like Fnatic. And this is the time where Cloud9 needs to start making changes. They had the benchings at the start of the year. They did cite some motivation issues, and if that is fixed, it's time to start winning. Because even though they look good in some of the games prior, they are 1-3, and that is unacceptable for the Cloud9 franchise.
And Smoothie as well, being a huge voice in what was their great summer split. They said Zeyzal, they had a lot of faith in being a great shot caller, but they did lose a handful of games from ahead that looked like pretty winning positions. So I think they can understand going back to a more tested shot caller going in also with Jensen.
I mean, it's going to be pretty interesting because, as you said, they're expecting Sneaky to be back. But if this lineup performs really well, hey, maybe they're going to stick with the strategy.
Yeah, without a doubt. They've shown that they're willing to do what it takes to get the team the victories that they need, not just a popularity contest. They go against a TSM who bring in their own roster change in the coaching position. Lustboy subbing in.
And this one's a little interesting because we got a little bit of context both from Lustboy's Twitter and some from some ESPN articles. Lustboy tweeted out, "Every member, including me on TSM, likes Song, and we think he's smart and advanced." And he would say it was pure luck that they got him to choose to stay, even though he could have chosen not to. And then I add that to the Jacob Wolf article that was on ESPN that said Song is taking a pay cut to remain on as a consistent coach. I am kind of wondering what was happening with TSM here. Was they're just going to get rid of him completely as a head coach and have Les Boy completely take over? We know he's stuck around, but that dynamic within the team is in for some big change, in my opinion.
And it's interesting to look at, too, because a lot of people look at that draft versus TL last week and say, oh, that was a huge problem. But plenty of coaches have bad drafts. What's way more concerning to me was watching Bjergsen stream in the middle of the week, and they were trying funnel strats for the first time ever. They had no idea how to play it. Bjergsen had never played Kai'Sa, didn't know what he did, was looking up his build online, and it was 3.5 weeks after we saw the premiere of these funneling strats, and this is the first time they're playing them. It doesn't feel like TSM ever tried the new meta at all.
And there's been so much focus on Sven and Mithi coming in as new players for the team, but Song came in as part of that package. Was super hyped up after a great season with Immortals, and there was high expectations. He was the first coach to ever not lead TSM to a finals, and now with a shaky summer split, it makes sense there's those changes.
Now, if we take a look at how the teams rank, we see that Game 2 will decide who's in sole possession of first place between Echo Fox or Team Liquid, as teams like Counterlogic Gaming, TSM, and Golden Guardians are constantly exchanging blows in that 6-way tie for third. If we cast ourselves back, though, to the spring finals in Miami, Echo Fox and Team Liquid were by far the best teams that weekend and still are looking like the best two teams at the top of the table now.
Yeah, and Dash, they're doing it in very different ways. Team Liquid still have a huge strength in playing standard and around their bottom lane. When they get a lead, they close it out resoundingly, and they're actually okay from coming from behind as well. The one blemish on their record was Doublelift on that Vladimir game, but I feel like since then, they've kind of recommitted to their way of playing, and they're going from there.
I mean, Echo Fox is still playing around Huni like they did in spring. The difference is you don't know where Huni is anymore. So you're still playing around that guy. He's just anywhere on the map, and everyone else is stepping up around him to fill in that vacancy that he left in the top lane. So we've seen multiple players in the top lane while he plays jungle, mid, and bottom so far. And it's a completely different look that a lot of teams are starting to experiment within the meta, but Echo Fox is definitely leading the charge with Huni at the helm.
All right, yeah, both teams doing what they believe is the best strategy for them to win. Of course, Echo Fox being the team that's swapping more things up. While Huni has been playing all around the map, Doublelift believes he will have to lane against Impact in their match today.
Yeah, dude, I have full faith that Impact's gonna be able to dumpster any off-road top laner right now. Like, I don't know what's happening where, like, Altec is getting away with playing top or Dardoch, but, like, you just can't, like, you're laning against, like, 7 years of top lane experience. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think Huni has to play top against us.
I honestly think that there is a possibility Altec could still, like, if he can get Mundo, you can play top, not to win, but to lose gracefully if you think, you know, you can get something else done on the map.
And there's also the fact that whenever Huni has gone up against Impact, it actually hasn't gone very well, and Impact's having one of the better splits, so there's a chance that if Echo Fox wants Huni to carry, it's actually to their benefit to have Huni laning against someone else and just take whatever happens with an off-roll top against Impact.
Yeah, Impact feels like a good neutralizer against Huni, which is why I would not mind seeing him elsewhere on the map. I would love to have this featured matchup actually be Doublelift versus Huni in the bot lane. That'd be way more interesting to me, so hopefully this off-rolling of Huni continues in the second match of the day.
Maybe we'll get it. Now, inspired by state-of-the-art technology from shows like the NBA, we're excited to unveil that Azael will be using our newest piece of software to break down this Baron Scuffle. So, Azael, take it away, man.
I am so excited to be the first one to unveil this, and I wish you guys could come with me, but unfortunately there's only room for one, and I am pleased to announce I'm going to be the first man to go inside the rift.
All
Get in
right,
there,
let's
Azael.
see it. Get in there.
Whoa,
Whoa.
it is absolutely amazing in here. You would not believe the details. I even have a health bar. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about the vision control that TL has. This is a game against TSM. They have a pink ward in the pit, a pink ward out here in the bush with me, and full vision control. Impact is set up to flank, and they basically have it set up so you can either turn for the fight or you can get a free Baron, securing this without TSM's knowledge at all. And we can see how this actually plays out once we roll this. So just let me recall out of here. And wait, dash, pause the clip. I'm not actually.
No, Azael, I'm not controlling the clip. It wasn't me. Azael, get out of there.
It hurts so much. Oh no, Mithi, why? Ah!
Azael? Oh, God. Azael?
Did we test that?
Could use some more tweaks probably, that technology.
Well, we're going to need to compose ourselves for a bit after suffering the tragic loss of our Canadian brethren. When we return, we'll check in on our Rift Rival opponents and cue you in on some of the pros' pre-game rituals before playing on the big stage. As we go to break, we hear the tug-of-war matchup. That was Cloud9 versus 100 Thieves in this week's Mic Check.
Give me a hype speech. Hype me up for this game.
I don't have.
Get me ready.
Nope.
I won't be able to play well unless I get one from Ryu.
I guess I probably can't do it.
Have you practiced your fedora?
Yep.
Tipping. You practice tipping with fedora.
Oh yeah. Ryu would like you to give us a speech before the match. To get us all ready.
GG.
Oh.
It's a GG.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Lock it in. Hell yeah.
Lock it in.
Nice.
Lock it in.
Lock it in.
All right,
Let's go, guys.
everyone, focus up and let's get it.
We're here. We're here. We're here. We're here.
Go, can we go Zen 2? Go Zen 2?
Yeah, I got him. I got him. I got him.
I'll get a stun.
Nope.
I stun him.
Aatrox here. Aatrox here. He's
I'm
ignited.
checking.
Yeah, we can clean up. We can clean up.
This guy plays.
Yeah,
I'm going up.
Nice.
He's knocked up. Got him. Okay, nice.
I have Windwall.
Can we go Baron? Can we go Baron? Blood's dead.
I'm looking for them in lane.
Okay, look at mid.
I'm not there. I'm not there. I got knockout.
We can fight here. We can fight.
I'm fine. I'm looking at Vlad. I just saw Vlad, okay?
5 seconds on my ult, Grayson.
He pulled. Yeah,
I'm looking at the side.
Look Vlad.
I'm going.
He flashed.
We flash.
We can
flash.
get
Can
him.
you get him? Can you get him? I have ulti.
Yeah, I can. Do we
Go flash.
Yeah, I have ulti.
Citrus
If you
up
get
here
him.
too.
I want to head bottom.
right here?
He's knocked up. Go
got
Vlad.
Vlad.
Go flash.
Let's go Baron.
Let's go Baron. Let's go Nash.
I can get on him. And he's gonna have to ult me. I got him.
We're fighting.
Be careful.
I'm coming behind them, bro.
Be careful. We missed everything. Play it slow.
Yeah.
They use a lot of ults there.
Yeah. We can go.
Careful.
Holding up. Yasuo.
I need help. Yasuo.
I don't say.
Keep fight.
Nice. Hey, come
on. Nice.
I'm gonna TP back. Do we have anything to zone?
I'm gonna ulti. I got him. Get down.
We got it. Fight.
I'm gonna exhaust Yasuo.
Careful. Play with Cody.
Yasuo, help.
Come on, Yasuo.
I don't say.
He's Jade. I see him.
You're right.
I'll go right.
One, he's already dead on my screen. I'm backing. Hit him with W. Oh, JK. The fade away.
Nice.
Pure.
Nice.
Tower, and then turn.
Yasuo's coming in. Look at Yasuo if he comes in. Yasuo.
Hit the Yasuo.
I'm here 1 second.
Nice. Let's go.
Nice.
Nice. Let's go. This one's for sneaky boys.
Welcome back to the NA LCS Countdown, where we're narrowing in on Champion Select for Game 1. So with our remaining time, we did want to spend a brief moment of it talking about Rift Rivals. Just a week away, we sent our star PA, Joel, to the EU LCS studios to scope out the competition. So we're going to bring him in here to talk about this real briefly. Joel!
Hey, Joel.
Hey guys,
How you
how's
doing?
it going?
Well, things are well here. How about for you?
Pretty good. I've been feeling like pretty good ever since Korea beat Germany in the World Cup.
Ah, that's a good point. Well, you find yourself in Germany. How's the jet lag? How are you feeling from the flights?
I'm a pro, it doesn't affect me.
I like it.
Weather looks pretty nice. Isn't it like nighttime in Europe right now?
Yeah, it is.
Ah,
of
yeah,
course,
that
of
makes
course,
a lot more sense.
Different place,
now.
too.
Yeah.
It might be.
Well, so listen here. We wanted to get some scouting info on the EU teams. It's a big matchup in EU we heard this week. Give us the update on the Rift Rivals teams and how they did, the EU Titans.
Cool, yeah, it's a clash of the EU Titans, which is kind of like a 6th or 7th place match over here in the NA.
Ah, that's a good point. That was Fnatic in G2, I think, right? What about Splice? How's that team doing?
Oh, they're even worse than those guys. We're going to be just fine next week.
Ah, I like it. All right, well, I think that's going to about do it for us, Joel. Thank you so much for being out there on the ground on the front lines, my friend.
Yeah, can I come home now?
Thanks again, man.
Yeah. Thank you, Joel. It was good to talk to you. We'll see you next week. Now, as we enter week 3, let's take a look at who has been performing in the first couple splits of the week, or a couple weeks of the split, rather. There you go. Player of the game, surprisingly, we find Altec up there, topping the tables alongside Doublelift at 2 POGs.
Yeah, not surprised to see the 2 top teams with the most POGs, but it is, like we were saying, surprised to see Altec. He had a great Vladimir game last week, and then the other one being that Mundo game that he had right when we started seeing all the role swaps going around. Huni having a harder time picking them up out of his native position.
I was going to say, it's surprising to me only because we talk so much about Huni when we talk about Echo Fox in this meta, and yet it's Altec who has received more Player of the Game honors.
Yeah, also there's going to be a whole host of players at one. We're only 4 games in. You can
Very
only
true.
receive Player of the Game with a victory, so Altec actually showing up early on in the split.
We show you this, though, because we also want to talk about the players we'll be keeping an eye on here in Week 3 of the NA LCS. No surprise to find both Jensen and, of course, by proxy, Golden Glue on this list.
Yeah, of course. You got 2 mage players, not exactly sure which one's going to be in which lane. One will end up in the bot lane. And Golden Glue has been playing very well, which I think is one of the primary reasons you don't see Sneaky moving back up with Jensen. It's just how great Golden Glue has been.
Yeah, and I think they're trying to emulate Fnatic or kind of what Snake is doing over in the LPO, where they're putting a different positioned player in that bottom lane position so they can play some of the other champions at a very high level.
Yeah, it's been working for Fnatic. I want to talk about the opponents that both Jensen and Golden Glue have in their first game of the day. TSM, Mithy up there on the list.
Right, and he hasn't looked very good thus far into the split, and with the kind of critical eye that we've seen already turn to the coaching staff, you start wondering if some of the players on TSM are going to be under the same gaze, because he was supposed to be a veteran leader and a shot caller and all this stuff, but it's still not enough if you're going to be getting hit by bindings nonstop in laning phase.
Absolutely, and I think the fans started taking notice of Mithy last week as well, especially when you look at some of those stats with a sub 50% kill participation and nearly sub 1-digit KDA. If he dies like 2 more times, it'll be there. When they brought him in, Mithy was supposed to be a coach on the field that was really going to make their shot calling cohesive and push them to the next level. Currently, they're not even getting to that shot calling point, and I do wonder if Mithy's coach on the field could come into more use now that they actually have a different coach on the stage with them in Lustboy. I want to see if the champion select completely changes and how quickly TSM can kind of find a new direction.
All right, well, that's an underperforming veteran on the list. We do have a newer player, a newer face to the list in Deathly, but he performing quite well for Golden Guardians up to this point.
Yeah, and he had a pretty good split in spring. It was a pretty quiet one, though, because Golden Guardians only picked up 4 wins. And anytime you're playing AD carry on a losing team, it's very difficult to shine. And now that the team has started stepping up, he's also been receiving more resources, being the beneficiary of one of those funneling strats. He's been having a pretty good split thus far.
Good personality to boot. Had the opportunity to interview him a couple times. Avali has. Febivin is the last player on this list for players to watch coming into this week, the mid laner for Clutch Gaming.
And this guy's always in the conversation for best mid laner in the league. It's just every once in a while he has that big drop-off game that makes you question it largely, and it can be on the same champion. He's had an amazing Swain game. He had a very poor Swain game. He's also not the type to dominate the laning phase, and he influences it more through late-game team fights. So he's always someone you need to watch of whether or not Clutch Gaming is going to be successful.
We've got our eyes on those 5, but getting better at League of Legends, professional League of Legends, that is a science that requires constants to be weighed against the variables. Just like the brightest minds in the world, NA pros use Harvard or MIT level preparation to get themselves a leg up in their games.
In normal teams, we used to do stuff the day before or even on the day, and then we would win the game and be like, okay, we have to do this every time. So yeah, I guess I'm superstitious.
Not superstitious. If I do something that morning and then I have a good game, then I'll keep doing that.
If yesterday I lost the game and I used like a certain sink in the bathroom, today I'm like, okay, I don't really trust it, but I won't risk it, kind of deal. So today I used another sink.
Kuhi was like, okay, we need to do everything that we did when we won. So we need to go to the same place that we ate, we need to listen to the same songs, and we need to do everything the same.
When I win, I try to make it consistent of every step I did.
We didn't do that, but we still ended up winning today, so I'm not very superstitious as a result.
If I eat a really good meal, then I feel like I'm gonna play well. Or maybe that's not really a superstition, maybe that's actually impacts your performance.
I mean, I just listen to music before I go on stage, that's pretty much it.
If I don't listen to music, I think I'm just definitely not calm and collected. I think it helps me collect my thoughts.
Wake up same time every day, I shower same time every day, this kind of things, but I don't really have socks or underwear or something like that I do every day.
I'll just put on my good luck underwear or good luck socks before the game. If I have to choose between 2 pairs, I'll think, no, that one is good luck. The other one is not good, and then I'll choose that one.
I used to have lucky socks. I did that for probably the first 2 years in TSM. I was like, I'm always gonna wear these socks, and I kept winning on them. But then when we started losing, I'm like, damn, these socks don't do anything. So I'm just gonna wear what's comfortable, and That's what I've been doing since.
I got some gift from fans, which is socks, and just a reminder, like this is from my fan. I should do my best.
I had one link in IMT, but I lost it. It's like reminding me of my goal.
Last split we were doing really bad. I'm pretty sure the first game we won was versus 100 Thieves, and I drank boba that day for the first time, so give us superpowers. For that one day only, though.
God, wouldn't that be a curse if you had to find a new good luck charm for every single game?
And it's no longer good luck charm, it's just a thing you do.
The boba only
Random.
works one time, got to move on. 5 minutes to go before the first game of the day. Let me get you guys' predictions up on the board. We do actually have some disagreements in today's matches, and I always love when that happens. First game of the day, third game of the day. You guys are sitting on opposite sides of the rift. So let's talk about that TSM Cloud9 game to kick us off.
I'm surprised Jad is going with this substitution because it's
Wild card!
Okay, great, but like, I mean, in Academy, like they were doing, we interviewed Keith after they won.
Yeah.
Keith was basically like, you know, oh, well, we've only had 2 days of scrims with these new lineups. I'm not very confident.
You're more confident in the team that just demoted their head coach?
Yes, than the players that haven't played together that much. At least these guys have been playing together for like 6 months.
It's true. I think this is a tough matchup, but I see the way that Cloud9 with their other guys were actually winning 3 of the 4 games but couldn't close it out. They're bringing back in Smoothie, who's really good at closing out games, and they're subbing in a mage player bottom lane where someone like Fnatic showed the same strategy can work extremely well, putting Whippo down there with bruisers and mages. I think it should work for Cloud9.
We'll get back to TSM Cloud9 because we're going to hit some win conditions as well, but I want to jump to 100 Thieves and Clutch Gaming as well, since you guys do not agree on that.
This one's super close, and for me, it mostly comes down to how well Apollo's been doing in the bot lane with Hakuho. Both of them have been really good, and like you said, Febi's been a little hit or miss, but Lyra's been looking better, and I think, you know, that was a bad game by Febivin, but I don't think he's that kind of player, so I expect him to bounce back, and if the other things that have been working well continue to work well, I think they are actually stronger than 100 Thieves right now.
I agree that these are very similar teams, but I think Hakuho is actually Clutch Gaming's best player. I don't think he gets the same advantages against Aphromu, and I think for the same reason that 100 Thieves beat them in playoffs and during the spring split, they'll beat him again here.
All right, there you have it. Ahead of his match today, Licorice aims to prove he can hold his own among all these roster shifts.
I mean, I think it's a good experience and a good opportunity for me personally, just to like prove myself more on the team and show that like last split wasn't just like the sneaky Jensen smoothie show and they're like dragging along my like lifeless body to the finish line. So I think it's a good opportunity for me to show that and also just to like grow as a player a lot.
I think you can be a little bit more confident than that. Jesus.
Rookie of the split, lifeless body.
Had like the best stats for the first half of the split. I don't know. You can be a little bit more boisterous than that.
It's like a progressive and mindset looking towards self-improvement, right? He's like, no, I'm not already the best. I've got to continue to look
we'll
to
beat
be the best.
TSM today.
Yeah, that's at least what they're thinking. So ahead of game one, let's gather some win conditions. I'm going to make you guys tell me how these teams come away with the victory starting. Jat, C9 win conditions. Let's go.
Yeah, well, I think C9 needs to make TSM a little bit uncomfortable, and that's by not playing standard. It's totally telegraphed. They don't have a marksman player on their team for this game. They put Jensen and Golden Glare, but you can funnel with them. They've both been practicing that. You can play any of the mages down bottom lane. You can probably play Yasuo down there very comfortably. And TSM, for what it's worth, doesn't seem to necessarily understand why those are working, even if they've been trying to practice it in solo queue, haven't done it in a team environment. And we got this guy back, Jensen on Cloud9.
And so, Mark, with this being somewhat of a telegraphed strategy coming out of C9, what is the response for TSM? They should know where this is coming at them.
Yeah, don't overthink it. Ban out bot lane mages and carries.
Which ones? There's so many.
There's not that many that they've played, though. Ban out Yasuo. That's what Jensen had played in Academy and looked really good. Ban out Swain. That's looked really good for Golden Glue down the bot lane. Maybe Vlad or Ryze. If those
Morgana. Vlad, Ryze.
If Golden Glue or Jensen's going to play Morgana in the bot lane and you can't beat that, you got bigger problems. So you can leave that one up. But you can ban out a couple of those mages. You know, ban out the Zoe if you really feel like you need to. And then otherwise, play for late game. I mean, as much as TSM's kind of come under criticism, they actually have looked good at points in this split as well, sticking to their more standard style. Play what you're good at. Ban the obviously telegraphed picks that should be coming in for this double mage team. And just play your game.
Is there concern for the laning phase of Sven and Mithy, as we talked about earlier, some kind of unimpressive early games coming out of that bot lane?
Yes, there's just not. Yes. There's definitely a concern, but like you have to be able to beat these guys. Like I don't think this is a draft. Like you need to ban out Smoothie as he comes back, get rid of his Alistar and all that stuff. Like,
you got to play better than that.
Yeah, you just got to be a little bit better. And like, you know, you can play Ezreal Braum and, you know, do what they do best and neutralize the laning phase. And then I expect them to be a more practiced unit than this team that was kind of smashed together a couple days ago.
Final point?
Yeah, and listen, as much as I'm feigning confidence over C9 right now, like, it's not really there because TSM still has all those players with many EU and NA LCS championships, and you always wonder if they can turn around at any moment.
All right, fair enough. This is a storied and historic rivalry between these two squads. We'll see how it manifests on the stage. With that, we're going to toss it out to the arena to get the games underway.